We are in the section about al-mithal. Al-mithal being that the first root letter is an unstable letter. First root letter is an unstable letter, and that's going to be a wow or a yeah. And we finished the wowie when the wow is the first root letter. Now we're on the ya-e, the mithal ya-e, when the ya is the first root letter. We started that. I'll just start from the top here and continue from where we left off. The author said, وَأَمَّا الْيَاء فَتَثْبُتُ عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ. As for the ya, it will be firm in all cases. Regardless, Yani. Regardless, it's going to stay firm. Nahu yamuna yaymunu wa ya'isa ya'asu wa yasara ya'siru. So here, fa'ula, fa'ila, fa'ala. These Maldives here, the ya stayed firm. And also, yaf'ulu, yaf'alu, and yaf'ilu. In these mudari'at forms, the ya stayed firm. وتقول في أفعل وتقول في أفعل من الياء. So, that's first thing. First thing is we're talking about al-mithal al-ya'i. First case is the case of thulathi mujarrad, which means what? Three-lettered verb without any extra letters, or three letters without any extra letters. Thulathi mujarrad, the ya stays firm. What about the case of thulathi mazidun fihi? We are talking about al-mithal al-wawi, al-ya'i, and we just looked at al-thulathi al-mujarrad, so three letters with no extra letters. And we saw that the ya stays firm. Yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, yaf'ulu. Sorry, fa'ala, fa'ila, fa'ula. The fa is the ya. The ya stays firm. Yaf'ulu, yaf'ilu, yaf'alu. Also, the ya stays firm. Okay. What about athulathi al-mazidu fihi? You should know these words. The thulathi with an extra letters, one or more extra letters. What's the case here? So he told us. After he talked about thulathi mujarrad, he said, وَتَقُولُ فِي أَفْعَالٍ. When it comes to thulathi mazidun fihi, three letters with an extra, at least one extra letter. If it were af'ala min al-ya'i, then you would say aysara yusiru isara. So aysara, okay, you can tell the ya is the original letter here. You should know. And this fatha here, this alif here, that's the extra letter. Aysara. So nothing changed here. All we did was, yani aysara has the pattern of af'ala. So there is no illa here. There's nothing altered here in aysara. Then that's the maldi. Then the mudari is yusiru. And the origin of this wow is a ya. Because that's the spot for the first root letter. So in origin, we would have said yuisiru. Yuisiru. So what happened? The ya flipped into a wow because of having a sukoon and because of the dhamma in front of it. So it becomes, instead of yoyisiru, yusiru. Isara, same thing here. Uh, no, not same thing here. Just this one. فهو musir. And therefore, this one is called musir. So the origin is that there's a ya there. So originally you'd say muisir, but you flip the wow into a ya because it has a sukoon and a dhamma in front of it. وذاك musar. This is the doer. Musir with the kasra. وذاك musar. This is the receiver. Muisar. Asluhu muisir. Or muisar, whichever one you want to do the i'rab for, the tasrif for. فَقُلِبَتِ الْيَاءُ مِنْهُمَا وَاوًا. So the ya in both cases, the case of musir and musar, the ya was flipped into a wow لِسُكُونِهَا وَانْضِمَامِ مَا قَبْلَهَا. The ya flipped into a wow here because of its having a sukoon and the dhamma in front of it. Okay. We covered all of that last time. Any question? طيب. Now we want to cover something else from the thulathi mazidun fihi. What we just saw in af'al was thulathi mazidun fihi biharf. Mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. Which was the hamza, because we were saying aysar. The only thing extra here is this hamza. Everything else is original. Ya, sin, ra. So it's thulathi, originally three letters, mazidun fihi, with something added to it, biharf. A single letter was added to it. Okay, now let's see thulathi mazidun fihi biharfain. Three-lettered verb and it's three-lettered verb and has two extra letters. The author says, وَفِي افْتَعَلَ مِنْهُمَا تُقْلَبَانِ تَاءً. In the case of ifta'ala, the fa, which is the ya, which is the harf illah, the fa will flip into a ta. Minhuma in both cases. What are the two cases here? Let's see. وَتُدْغَمَانِ فِي تَاءِ افتعال. And then when you flip that unstable letter into a ta, you're going to merge it into the ta that is present already in the pattern of ifta'ala. نحو تعد يتعد اتعادا. So for example, okay. Minhuma means wawi and ya'i. So for example, itta'ada. You would say in origin, ilta'ada. But what happens is that the unstable letter flips into a ta. Can't really see that. The unstable letter flips into a ta. So it becomes itta'ada. Itta'ada. But of course, as you know, you're going to merge these two tasks together. You're not going to leave them separated in writing. So you're going to say, you're going to write itta'ada. وتدغم في تاء افتعل نحو تعد يتعد اتعادا. So that's the ماضي اتعد. The مضارع يعتعد يتعد. The source noun اتعادا. فهو متعد. And the doer is called a متعد with a kasra. وذاك متعد. The receiver is called متعد with a fatha. That's that. واتسر يتسر اتسارا. Here's an example of the ya'i. اتسر يتسر اتسارا فهو متسر وذاك متسر. وقد يقال. So اتسر, what was there? Was the pattern is ifta'ala, and the first letter of this pattern was a wow. Yes, itta'ada. It's a wow. That first letter. I wrote that wrong. So if ta'ala, if the root letter is going to be a wow, then that means that it's actually going to flip into a ta. So if ta'ala becomes it ta'ala, this turns into a ta. It ta'ala, but then you're going to do what? Then you're going to merge one tat with the other tat in writing and then add a shadda. So it's going to come out as it ta'ada. Any words? Any questions here? And also, what tasara? What happened there? So it tasara. The origin of this tat was that it was a ya. Then you would have said e tasara. So this ya turns into a tat. So it becomes it tasara. There was already a tat because you say if ta'ala. This is the pattern we're talking about. The pattern of if ta'ala has a tat. So we are saying that sometimes because the root letter is a wow or a ya, then when the root letter is a wow or a ya, when the root letter is a wow or a ya, then the fat is going to be, which is the wow or the ya, flipped into a tat. That wow is going to flip into a tat, or that ya is going to flip into a tat, and then it's going to become it ta'ala, or it tasara. So the wow or the ya is going to turn into a tat. So you're going to say it. So what I should write is like this. You're going to say it tasara. So should you write it this way? It tasara. No. And the meaning would be that this tat was a wow or a ya. No. So what you're going to do is actually merge these two tats in your writing. And you're going to say it tasara. I think that's clear. If you have a question, feel free, please.
Sheikh,
Yes.
I thought that only the aleph, the wow, and the ya were interchangeable. How does tag get into it?
It is case harf illa. How did the ta get mixed into there? Because here, you have this wasn't if ta'ala. This wasn't in particular has some effect on different words. So sometimes when you have this wasn't of if ta'ala, sometimes the fat is going to flip into another letter. So sometimes the fat would flip into a tat. Sometimes the fat will flip into a tat here. When would the fat flip into a tat? When the fat is a wow or a ya. So it has to do if this wasn't here.
Okay. What other question? Are there other wazns that this happens to the kolb?
Uh, and not the same one. This particular wasn't has these features. Sometimes the fat is going to flip, and sometimes the tat itself going to flip. We took this actually here.
Okay.
Mish, Bismillah.
Is that when it flips into a dal?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Bismillah.
It's okay. I have it in my notes. I'll look. I'll
Okay.
look.
Inshallah ta'ala. Here. متى تقلب تاء افتعل طاء? When will the ta of ifta'ala flip into a ta? The ta of ifta'ala. So he goes talking here. Know that whenever the fa of ifta'ala is a swad or a dad or a ta or a dha, then the ta flips into a ta. And then he gives you the examples of اضطرد, إذ ظلم, إذ طلم, etc. اضطرب. And ومتى كان فاء افتعل دالا أو ذالا أو زايا قلب تاؤه دالا. Whenever the fa of ifta'ala is a dal or a thal or a zay, then the ta will flip into a dal. Here, ومتى كان فاء افتعل واوا أو ياء أو ثاء قلبت الواو والياء والثاء تاء. Whenever the first root letter of ifta'ala is a fa, is a wow or a ya or a tha, then it will flip into a ta, that first letter. So here, when he says wow, this means we talk about mithal, a case of mithal, and we talked about the ya here means we talk about a case of mithal. But when we first came over this, we didn't talk about mithal because it wasn't time yet to introduce the name.
Barakallahu fika.
Amin wa fikum. So that's where we are here. وَفِفْتَعَلَ مِنْهُمَا تُقْلَبَانِ تَاءً. So when the wowie or the ya'i, when the mithal is in the pattern of ifta'ala, then the first root letter flips into a ta. وَتُدْغَمَانِ فِي ta ifta'al. And then that ta will merge into the ta that's already present in the wazn of ifta'ala. And so you're going to wind up saying itta'ada, yatta'idu, itti'adan. So he says, what tasara? That's what we are here. Ittasara. So this ittasara, this one here, it's like there's two tas there. There are two tas there. Itta, ittasara. This first ta, it was a ya. It was a ya. But when the ya falls into this wazn of iftala, it's going to flip into a ta. When it's mithal, a case of mithal. So instead of saying tasara, you say ittasara. So you say itta'ada. It says here, ya ta'idu, ya ta'idu. Why? Where's that coming from there? Itta'ada yatta'idu. فهو متعد واتسر يتسر فهو متسر. So this one says itada. So I think they forgot to follow the rule that they're typing. The ya flips into a ta, so it becomes itada. So let's make sure this metin is straight here. I'm reading from my own copy in my hand, comparing it to what's here on the screen. So he says, may Allah have mercy upon him. وَفِي افْتَعَلَ مِنْهُمَا تُقْلَبَانِ تَاءً. In the pattern of ifta'ala, for the wawi and the ya'i, they are the first root letter is flipped into a ta. Wawan. Okay. So in ifta'ala, in both cases, wawi or ya'i, tuqlabani ta'an. The first root letter is flipped into a ta. وَتُدْغَمَانِ فِي ta ifta'al. And then will be merged into the ta of ifta'al. Nahu التعد يتعد فهو متعد والتسر يتسر فهو متسر. بسم الله.
It's itta'ada, not atta'ada. Itta'ada,
Say again, please.
right?
Can you repeat, please?
It's itta'ada. Let me. My internet is very weak. I'm gonna put it on 3G. I was saying itta'ada, not atta'ada, right? Itta'ada yatta'idu.
Yeah, itta'ada. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
I said with fatha.
yeah. Just yes.
I'm a little drowsy here. I'm trying to get to somewhere so I can stop, inshallah. Subhanallah. Okay. نحو تعد نحو تعد يتعد ابتعادا. So نحو تعد يتعد فهو مبتعد. Here, ابتعادا. This is not in my copy that I took. وفي افتعل منهما تقلبان تاء وتدغمان في تاء افتعل. نحو ابتعد يتعد فهو مبتعد. نحو تعد يتعد فهو متعد. So that's not in my copy here. واتسر يتسر فهو متسر. And all of this. وذاك متعد. This is not also in my copy here. واتسر يتسر. اتسار, that's not in my copy. فهو متسر. ويقال. And then this is not in my copy. So that's not there. That's not there. That's not there. So وتدغمان في تاء افتعل نحو تعد يتعد فهو متعد واتسر يتسر فهو متسر وقد يقال. And here قد, no قد in my copy. ويقال تعد يتعد فهو متعد. And it could be said تعد يتعد فهو متعد. وي ويتسر ويتسر. This is not in my copy here. Then starts here. وي ويتسر يتسر فهو متسر. Yes. وهذا مكان متسر فيه. And this is not in my copy. وهذا مكان متسر فيه. So let us just review what we took. Make sure everything's clear here. So we're going to start here from the top of this part again. Al-Ya'i. And so the author says, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him. وَأَمَّا الْيَاء. As for the ya. Yani, now we are finished with the wawi. Now to the ya. فَتَثْبُتُ عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ. It stays firm in all cases. In all cases of what though? All cases of thulathi mujarrad. In all cases of thulathi mujarrad. You know what's thulathi mujarrad? 3 root letters with no extra letters in the past tense. 3 root letters without any extra letters in the past tense form. Like these examples he gives us here. Nahu, such as yamuna, which has the pattern of fa'ula. Yaymunu, with the pattern of yaf'ulu. And it should have the pattern of yaf'ulu, as you know, because fa'ula with the dhamma in the middle, the mudari is always yaf'ulu with a dhamma. Not the reverse, though. Yaf'ulu with a dhamma in the mudari, the dhamma on the mudari, the maldi could be fa'ala. You say, for example, dakhala, what? Yadkhulu. So you have dhamma here, and the maldi is fa'ala. But if the maldi is fa'ula, then the mudari is for sure yaf'ulu. As long as we're not talking about blending dialects. We're not talking about blending dialects. To bring a maldi according to one dialect and a mudari according to a different dialect, which can be done. That can be done in Arabic. وَيَئِسَ يَيْأَسُ. Yes, ya'isa. Here, let me just erase some of this stuff here. وَيَئِسَ يَيْأَسُ. So يَئِسَ is what? فَعِيلَ. فَعِيلَ. يَيْأَسُ, the mudari then is يَفْعَلُ, which that's also consistent. The expected mudari for fa'ila is yaf'alu with a fatih. It could irregularly come as fa'ila yaf'ilu, and it does not come as fa'ila yaf'ulu. I don't have to keep making the disclaimer of, except when talking about merging dialects or combining dialects. So I'm not going to keep saying that. When I say you don't say it this way, we're not giving regard to combining dialects. وَيَسَرَ يَيْسِرُ. What's that? فَعَلَ يَيْسِرُ يَفْعِلُ. فَعَلَ يَفْعِلُ. Yes. That's normal. فَعَلَ يَفْعِلُ. جَلَسَ يَجْلِسُ. Okay. So, as we see, nothing happened to the ya in any of these. The author here, he has managed to produce three examples of Maldi that are Mithal, Wawi, Fa'ala, Fa'ila, Fa'ula are their patterns. And also three examples of Mudari for Mithal, Ya'i, that's Yaf'alu, Yaf'ilu, Yaf'ulu. The Ya stayed firm. Any question? Okay, that's case number one. That's Mas'ala al-Mas'alatul Ula, the first case here under al-Mithalul Ya'i. Second case, the author says, Rahimahullah, وَتَقُولُ فِي أَفْعَلَ. Now we're talking about ثُلَاثِي مَزِيدٌ فِيهِ. This is ثُلَاثِي, but مَزِيدٌ فِيهِ. And مَزِيدٌ فِيهِ by how many? بحرف واحد. ثلاثي مزيد فيه بحرف واحد, the triliteral verb with one extra letter. Does this pattern of أفعل have any significant effect on the مثال يائي? The author says, وتقول في أفعل من الياء أيسر يوسر إيسارا. So أيسر, its wazn is أفعل. So that means that this ya is the fa of the word. What's the mudari of af'ala? It's yuf'ilu. Mudari of af'ala is yuf'ilu. Okay. And what's this mudari here? Yusiru. Yusiru. So what happened then? Where is that? Where's the fa of the word? The ya flipped into a wow. لِسُكُونِهَا وَانْضِمَامِ مَا قَبْلَهَا, because of having a sukun itself, as well as there being a dhamma in front of it. So then the ya flips into a wow. So instead of saying yoyisiru, you're going to say yusiru. Isara. Here the ya is firm. Doesn't change. فَهُوَ musir. And therefore, anyone who does this act is called a musir, meaning that the wow has replaced the ya here. So you're going to say musir instead of muisir. وَذَاكَ musar. And then the other one is musar. Also, the wow instead of the ya. So you don't say muisar. Asluhu muisir or muisar. Like I told you. فَقُلِبَتِ الْيَاءُ مِنْهُمَا وَاوًا. And then the ya in both cases, the case of the doer and the case of the receiver, it flips into a ya. لِسُكُونِهَا وَانْضِمَامِ مَا قَبْلَهَا. Because of that ya having a sukun and a dhamma in front of it, then that makes the ya flip into a wow. Any question here? Okay. So then that's the second mas'ala. Here's the second mas'ala here. Al-mas'alatu thaniyah. The case of af'ala for the ya'i. What else though is here? What? A thulathi mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. What else? Remember, that includes fa'ala. Fa'ala, that's a thulathi mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. And it also includes fa'ala. That's a thulathi mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. So then the author, he didn't show us that anything strange happened, or yani any illa, anything that diverts from the standard rule applies here for fa'ala or fa'ala. And he only said something about af'ala for the thulathi mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. If you have any question, feel free. Let's see what the third case is. He says, وَفِي افْتَعَلَ مِنْهُمَا تُقْلَبَانِ تَاءً. And for ifta'ala, for both of them, minhuma, what's huma? The wow and the ya. Tuqlabani ta'a, the defective letter or the unstable letter will flip into a ta. So this is the pattern of ifta'ala. So it has its own case for the mithal. So your first case for the mithal is thulathi mujarrad. Fa'ala, fa'ila, fa'ula, yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, yaf'ulu, no change. Second case is thulathi mazidun fihi biharfin wahid. You have fa'ala, fa'ala, and af'ala. Special rule in this chapter is for af'ala. Then you have thulathi mazidun fihi biharfain. Triliteral verb with two extra letters. Nahu ifta'ala. How many letters for ifta'ala? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. تقلبان تاء وتدغم في تاء افتعل نحو. So it's going to be, so yes, وفي افتعل منهما, in the wazn of ifta'ala for both of them, minhuma for both of them means for the wawi and for the ya'i. In ifta'ala for both of those, the wawi and the ya'i, tuqlabani ta'a, the waw or the ya will flip into a ta in this pattern. وَتُطْغَمَانِ فِي تَاءِ افتعال, and then that new ta will get merged into the ta that's part of the pattern itself. نَحْوُ تَعَدَ يَتَّعِدُ. نَحْوُ تَعَدَ يَتَّعِدُ. What's the root letter here for itta'ada? Oh, wow. So originally it would have been said iuta'ada. Iuta'ada. But what happened was that wow preferred to be a tat. So flipped into a tat. And then they wound up with two tats. The tat, which is the harf illa, got transformed into, and the tat that's already part of the pattern, if ta'ala. So then they merged the tat into the tat. Even in script, they merge them. You don't write two tats there. You're going to write it like how the author wrote it here. Itta'ada yatta'idu.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah. Is it
Yes.
اتعد يتعد شيخ اتعادا like that?
Yes.
Okay, barakallahu feek.
I mean, Wafiq, if you can see my screen, I have itti'ad crossed out because it's not in the metin. Not in the metin that I took.
Okay, Sheikh.
This metin does have different copies. You know how like Abu Shuja has some different copies, not all the
Yeah.
same. This
Yeah.
one different copies too. The one that I took doesn't have these. What's scratched out here in red and in yellow here.
Barakallahu feek.
I mean, Wafiqum. Yeah, I mean, we pull up my copy again here. Bismillah. Yeah. So here's my mention. I'm just going to read it real quick. You can see the paragraph, but I'm reading from my book, my copy that I took by Talaqi. The author says, وَفِي افْتَعَلَ مِنْهُمَا تُقْلَبَانِ تَاءً وتدغمان في تاء افتعال نحو اتعد يتعد فهو متعد. So it's not in the meten here. واتسر يتسر. Yeah, this was that good. That's not in the meten. واتسر يتسر فهو متسر. What you call اتعد يتعد. Yeah. فهو متعد. ويتسر يتسر فهو متسر. وهذا مكان متسر فيه. Okay, so you see how it goes in my meten. So he said from the top of the paragraph, وَفِي افتعل منهما, and so for the pattern of ifta'ala, for both of them, for the mithal wawi and ya'i. So we are out of the wawi section. We got into the ya'i section, but then while in the ya'i section, he came back to mention something that pertains to the wawi. So he says, وَفِي افتعل مِنْهُمَا, in ifta'ala for both of them, تُقْلَبَانِ تَاء, will be flipped. Both of them, the waw and the ya, will be flipped in this pattern of ifta'ala. Yani, if the waw or the ya is the fat of the word, like the examples he's going to give. تُقْلَبَانِ تَاء, that waw or ya will flip into a ta. وَتُدْغَمَانِ فِي تَاءِ افتعال, and then that ta, this new ta that came from a waw or a ya, will be merged into the ta that's already in the pattern of ifta'ala. Nahu, such as itta'ada. So itta'ada is wawi, comes from wa'ada. What happened to the waw? The waw got applied to the pattern of ifta'ala. So here, ifta'ala. So wa'ada, and there would be an alif, and then the fa is the waw. Then there's a ta. Then the ain is ain, and the lam is a dal. So looks like it should be iuta'ada. Iuta'ada. But you don't say iuta'ada, you say itta'ada. Nahu ta'ada yatta'idu. So you don't say iuta'ada yauta'idu. Rather, you're going to flip that wow into a ta. فَهُوَ مُتَّعِدٌ. And anyone who has this, who does this act is called a mutta'id, with the shad on the ta, not a mu'ta'id. Well, he says you can say mu'ta'id. You can say mu'ta'id, but here, when you say it this way, when you flip the wow into the ta and then merge it into the ta, then you say mutta'id. وَاتَّسَرَ يَتَّسِرُ. Here's an example of a ya'i. Bismillah. Okay, فهو متعد. واتسر يتسر فهو متسر. Now for ya'i, same pattern. If ta'ala, apply a ya to this pattern, such as if you had the word yasura, or yasura, or if it's yasara with a fatha. So this is ya'i. He gives the example. What tasara yattasiru instead of wai tasara yai tasiru. فهو متسر. And so he is a muttasir, not a muitasir. What you call. And but you can also say, you have some options here. You can say إِتَعَدَ يَا تَعِدُ فَهُوَ مُتَعِدٌ. فهو متعد. ويتسر يتسر فهو متسر. Here, though, this wow is flipped from a ya. Muitasir is the origin. The ya was flipped into a wow because of having a sukoon and a dhamma in front of it. وهذا مكان متسر فيه. And this is a mutasar place. A mutasar place. Okay. So now we just reviewed everything we took. I think that's actually pretty simple. Subhanallah. Let's mention this last thing so that we can start the ajwaf next time, inshallah. So the author says, وَحُكْمُ وَدَّ يَوَدُّ كَحُكْمِ عَضَّ يَعَضُّ. The judgment of wadda, which is wawi, mithalun wawi, and also it is what? It is also what do you call it? Muda'af. Muda'af. So this one is wawi and muda'af. Because you call double trouble. It's not trouble though. Yawaddu. So the rule of wadda yawaddu is like the rule of adda ya'addu, meaning this wow here has no special rule. I'm just going to follow the rule of the muda'af, like we talked about. وتقول في الأمر إيدد كعضض كعضض. And for the command, you'll say dead. The origin of it is dead. But there's a kasra in front of the wow, and the wow itself has a sukoon, so you're going to flip the wow into a ya. You're going to say dead ka'adad. Like you say irbad. Wallahu alam. Allah knows best. We'll stop there. Next time, inshallah, we're going to start the al-mu'tallu al-ain. When the defective letter is the middle root letter. This is the second root letter. The hollow word. Al-ajwaf. Yes, sister, go ahead, please.
Yes, I have a question about one of the wazns.
Okay.
The tha'ila yaf'ilu.
Yes.
Trying to look for a couple words that follow that pattern, but it was very hard for me to find any.
Fa'ila yaf'ilu.
Yes.
Yeah, it's shadh. This is irregular.
Oh, okay.
There's a group of words like that. They might be, I don't know how many of them, like 20 or something.
Where can I find them?
You can find them in. Let me see something here. Bismillah. Let me see something here. I'm pretty sure you can find them in the book called Shadha al-Arf. I'll write the name for you. Shadha al-Arf. Shadha al-Arf. في فن الصرف. شذا العرف في فن الصرف. That's a Sarf book. It's advanced one compared to what we are taking. He should have that in there. Now I know I have this list. Also, probably in any of the explanations of this book. This book has several explanatory books. We took those. Now, I'll tell you what, inshallah, if I come across them, then 1 second though. Let me just see before I get off here with you. So yeah, I'll have to inshallah find them. I have them. So hopefully maybe next week I'll have something for you and I'll share it with you.
Inshallah. Barakallahu fika.
Ameen wa fikum. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك